but James does an unbelievable job of getting to the line of scrimmage and keeping us out of negative plays. He's been unbelievable, man. And, we should keep trying to ride him a little bit more probably and see where that can take us.
It's Jay Gruden, and consider all that's happening. He's, like fourth in the league in attempts, third or fourth in rushing yards, right up there in the top 5. He's doing that when he's basically the only weapon on the field a lot of times.
Well, typically you have a guy who is one of the leading rushers on an offense that is putting teams away, or at least you're playing with a lot of leads in the second half, so he's not getting as many opportunities there. Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook, the only running backs in the league with more yards on the ground than James Robinson. Really remarkable rookie season. Just knock on wood, man. Just need him to stay healthy over the final 6 weeks because he has been, in many ways, the offense for the Jaguars this year.
Absolutely, and he's been certainly a bright spot, and hopefully he gets some accolades for it down the stretch if his play continues. Let's go back to the defense now. One of only a couple of defensive starters still on the field is Joe Schobert. We'll hear from him in just a moment. The secondary is decimated with injuries. The Jaguars had to go claim cornerback Greg Maben off waivers from the Titans on Tuesday, and he could play a significant role today on defense for the Jaguars in the secondary. Marone on Friday explaining to Gary Smith of the Times-Union where they are right now with Maben.
And how much was Maben actually able to practice with you guys this week?
2 days.
Okay. Did you see enough that you comfortable with throwing him in there Sunday?
We don't really have a choice, so we got to get him ready. To be ready to go.
Yeah, no choice now. I mean, whoever comes in and is available, well, guess what? Get on the grass Sunday. Let's go.
Right, got to have bodies. Get in there, play, practice a couple days. That's more than some teams are going to have. With again, you look at what the Ravens are going through with 18 guys at a minimum. Going to miss if they play maybe 20. I think it's up to 20 now today. Wow. With Mark Andrews among those being added. So you're going to be playing guys very inexperienced, and, you've played corner in the league before. At least you've got a leg up on Kendall Hinton, who will be playing quarterback for the Denver Broncos as a wide receiver off the practice squad.
From the Jaguars' perspective, though, this is all football injury-related, though. It's not COVID-related.
No, you're right, but
which is crazy.
That's part of the thing that everyone in the league is dealing with this year. You're having to be more adaptable to, playing guys that you typically wouldn't play because players are just simply not as available to you. But you're right, JP, but it happens that way sometimes. You get a rash of injuries in a position group. It happened a few years ago with the Jags at left tackle, and it seems to be happening at cornerback and to some degree safety as well, as both Josh Jones and Daniel Thomas on injured reserve now there. So the secondary as a whole has been beat to a pulp.
Chris Claybrooks, who was backing up at the cornerback spot, is on there now. C.J. Henderson's still on there. Sidney Jones is out. I mean, that list goes on and on and on. We mentioned Joe Schobert. He's facing his old team today, but he knows there's plenty different about the Browns that he knew.
Well, the only thing that I personally would is the personnel aspect of it, because I've gone against the guys, but they have a whole new scheme, a whole new system with the guys, the coaching staff who came in. So other than the personnel and the players and what their demeanors are like and playing against them for 4 years, I don't have a whole lot of the ins and outs of the actual offensive scheme and the lingo or the jargon that they might be using.
Schobert spent 4 years in Cleveland before going into free agency and joining the Jaguars this past offseason. He wants to perform well against his old team. He said he was asked who he wants to hit. He said Nick Chubb. Well, careful what you wish for, Joe.
You're going to get your opportunity. Nick Chubb's playing fantastic football. It's a two-pronged rushing attack. Kareem Hunt, former league-leading rusher, as the backup. That's a luxury most teams can only dream about having, and that's the way the Browns want to beat you. They want to pound you into submission.
There you have it, some of today's top stories. The Jaguars Game Day radio broadcast is presented by VyStar Credit Union. If you believe free checking is better, join VyStar. That's checking with no fees and no minimums. No kidding. At VyStar, they never forget that it's your money. Time now for our weekly visit with the head team physician for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Dr. Kevin Kaplan of Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute.
And, Doc, it's a beat-up football team. The injuries continue to pile up even this week. A lot of guys on the list this week, some guys on IR that weren't last week. Every week we keep hearing new names on the injury list. I don't think we've seen one like this around here in terms of the amount of injuries. Is it just normal football things happening? Is it a combination of, an abbreviated offseason? How does all that fit together?
Yeah, I've been watching. Obviously, the other team is around the league as well, and even watching games on Thanksgiving. You just saw a number of injuries and a number of injury reports that seem somewhat long. And I think that when the season ends, we're going to be able to look back and really get an assessment of how this rare and a very strange season played out on a health standpoint for the players. And I think we have a lot to learn. And obviously, it's hard to really figure out what's going on while you're in it, while you're in the heat of things, because you're just trying to get guys healthy. But it's something that we really need to take a look at. And that could play into the future of how we do the preseason. Everybody, talked about how we don't need a preseason at all, but here we are with long injury reports on a lot of different teams and a lot of big players getting hurt. And that's a definite concern in terms of player health and safety.
Yeah, I think Doug Marrone has talked about this a little bit before about you have to go hit and be out in live football games to get back into football shape. Practice is one thing, but when you get calloused a little bit and get back to game shape, I'm sure it's the same kind of idea. If all of a sudden you're not running around and then you're running full speed, the soft tissue things and all that stuff can kind of happen.
Yeah, there's no question that muscle memory plays a lot into what football players do. And you can only do so many things on your own at your house or in a gym. But when your muscle and your muscles and your body get used to the contact, the ways that you pivot and plant and turn and twist against another very large human being, there's something to be said for that. I mean, and you're going to have injuries. There's no such thing as an injury-free season. Certainly, there are ways that we try to mitigate the injury risk. And I think one of those things is getting their bodies ready to go. And I do think that, successful teams, if you look at our team in 2017, we started on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I think it was 21 out of 22 starters that started at the beginning of the year, started that last game. And that's the goal from a physician standpoint, from an athletic training standpoint, is trying to figure out how can we do that? How can we replicate that every year, knowing that the rare injuries and then the weird things are going to happen no matter what we do.
The Conversation with Dr. Kevin Kaplan is a weekly feature of the Publix Tailgate Show, and he's been a busy man as of late.
Yes, he has, and it's the nature of the game, but particularly this year, it seems like a lot of it's hitting the Jaguars.
It certainly is. Farah and Farah reminds you to continue to wear a mask. Help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. We're just getting started on the Publix Tailgate Show. We'll return with Jaguars wide receivers coach and former Jaguar and Brown, Keenan McCardell. He'll take us behind the growth of Keelan Cole and some other receivers, plus his memories of playing with the Browns in the early 90s. The Browns and the Jaguars coming up at 1 o'clock. And from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Hey Jacksonville, this is Joe Adib from Bono's. I just want to let you know that we have now reopened all of our dining rooms. We appreciate all the love that you have showed us during this crisis. For over 71 years, we have been here for you through good times and bad. Our award-winning barbecue and our unbelievable staff look forward to seeing you soon. Be safe.
Brooks Rehabilitation outpatient locations throughout Florida are currently open and accepting in-person and telehealth appointments. They're following CDC guidelines to include screenings, temperature checks, face masks, social distancing, and additional sanitizing of all surfaces. They're taking extra precautions to ensure your safety so you can focus on your recovery. Please call their central intake unit at 904-345-7277, option 3 to schedule your visit. Brooks Rehabilitation is the official rehabilitation provider for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
Cecine's Office Systems helps you manage information more efficiently, offering a full line of award-winning copiers, printers, electronic document storage solutions, mailing solutions, and IT solutions. Founded in 1981, Cecine's continues to offer unmatched customer support and world-class scalable technologies to both small businesses and Fortune 500 companies. Located in Jacksonville, Daytona, Orlando, Tampa, and Gainesville, Cecine's is ready with your office solutions. Call 888-771-2679 or visit sissines.com today.
Jaguars fans, whether it's on the field or in your finances, the key to success is a solid plan. From high-yield banking to home lending, into retirement and beyond, TIAA Bank offers solutions that can help you achieve your goals and make the most of your money. It's time for a plan. Start building your legacy today at TIAABank.com/Jaguars. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, equal housing lender, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey guys, this is Ashlyn Sullivan. I want to take a break here because I'm so excited to talk to you all about this experience Eric Den and I are hosting this season, called Jags at Home. The Jaguars are actually giving away $2,500 every quarter of every game to the fans who can predict the outcome of the game most accurately. That's $10,000 every single game. If you think you know football and the Jaguars, join us for every home and away game at jagsathome.com.
Jaguars Game Day presented by ViStar Credit Union. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey. We're at the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park studio at TIAA Bank Field, and the Publix Tailgate show rolls along. Browns-Jaguars at 1 o'clock today in Week 12, and this portion of the Publix Tailgate show is brought to you by your Southern Ford dealers. Keenan McCardell, Jaguars wide receivers coach. We always love visiting with Keenan. He's been around here for since 2017 as the wide receivers coach. Longtime NFL career as a receiver. 4 seasons in the early 90s with the Cleveland Browns, right before he came to Jacksonville. So he has quite a perspective on things. And I like the fact that, he played, 17 years in the league. Yeah. So anything he says in that wide receiver room should be listened to intently by those guys. I think it is.
He played at a championship level. He was incredibly productive, super tough guy. I mean, he's got the numbers. He's got the ability to relate to players. He's beloved among the fan base as well. The fan base will be like, hey, you know what? Fire every coach. But Keenan can stay. Right. I hear that all the time. Keenan can stay, though. We want him. So he can do no wrong pretty much in the eyes of Jaguars fans.
Let's hear from Keenan McCardell, Jaguars wide receivers coach.
Jaguars wide receivers coach Keenan McCardell joining us as the Jaguars host the Cleveland Browns. Keenan, good to see you. And are you past the whole Cleveland Browns thing? It's one of your early teams as a player, but it's been a little while ago, obviously, in the early 90s. What's your best memory of playing in Cleveland?
My best memory of playing in Cleveland is probably the last game in Cleveland. We played the Cincinnati Bengals. It was a memorable moment. I caught the last touchdown in Old Memorial Stadium, and it was bittersweet too because we were leaving, but we got a chance to go around and just shake hands with all the fans. As a team, we stayed out and just jogged around the outer part of the stadium and just was shaking hands, and fans were happy and mad. They was throwing chairs out, but the diehard fans were appreciative of us taking our time to just say goodbye. And I always have love for Cleveland because the fans there are wonderful. They're blue collar fans that love good football, and I kind of grew up. That's what made me in this league is being a blue-collar worker.
Keenan McCardell with us, Jaguars wide receivers coach. Let's get into the group that you're working with now for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, this week you got a couple guys out. Chark and Conley not available. Laviska Shenault could be back. He's been battling through injury throughout the year here. Keelan Cole's had a great season so far. I mean, that's a lot of moving parts. I know there's other moving parts around the entire football team, but now it's come to the wide receiver room too.
Yeah, we take it we take the challenge head on. We always say next man up. In our room, we feel like we're talented enough to step up and fill in the shoes for guys. You get a chance to get your opportunity. As I always tell them, once you get your opportunity, you got to step in there and knock on the opportunity is knocking on the door. You got to step in the door and take advantage of it. And that's what I preach. I got guys believing that way when they step up. Coach, I got you. There's not going to be a drop off, and that's what we believe. I mean, and you know what? It's a challenge for us. These guys are playing good football. Got to go out there and execute, understand what we're doing, and we got to make plays to help us win.
Laviska Shenault, we mentioned him. He's been in and out of the lineup with injuries. How much do you have to kind of keep his head on straight? That can get to a young guy. I know he had to battle some of that in college as well. How much do you have to kind of get inside above the shoulders with him to make sure he's still good?
A lot. I mean, just saying that, it happens in this league. But when you come back, you got to understand that when you're in there, you got to produce like you're not hurt. I mean, you're not injured. I mean, the thing about it at this level, once you step out on the field, all the injury stuff is out the door. If we feel like you're healthy, you got to play to Laviska Shenault's potential, and I think he understands that. And I'm happy that he'll be back. I hope. We just hoping that we can get a little bit of something from him. And if he does, I hope he comes back with the same intensity and mental mindset that he had before he went out.
Keelan Cole's catching a bunch of balls this year, and obviously had a punt return touchdown in Green Bay as well. You've seen him develop over the last couple years here. What's different about this time around? I think we've asked you this before this season, but he just continues to perform this year.
You know what? He's a guy that takes advantage of every opportunity he has. He enjoys playing football. When you see him on special teams, you see him on the field goal block, you see him onside kicking. I mean, he enjoys playing football, and that's what I love about him. I mean, every day he comes to work. He runs all day. I just keep telling him, I say, every time you step out on the field, you're being evaluated, whether you're at receiver, at anything. They want to see how hard you're playing. And my thing to him is to play hard, because your athletic ability and talent will show up if you're playing hard.
How bad does this team need a win, Keenan?
We need it bad. I mean, being in that locker room, you understand, when you get a losing streak, I've been in that locker room, and just one win to get that bad taste out your mouth, and this week would be a great time. I mean, they got a lot of confidence going. They're running the ball really well. They're playing really good defense, and on special teams, they're making plays. So it's not going to be an easy task. I mean, last week wasn't an easy task. None of the weeks are easy tasks in the National Football League. So you got to step up and bring your A game every week. And I think this week we got to bring it. So I'm looking forward to a good football game. Guys coming out with a lot of intensity as we did last week. And let's see where the chips fall.
Appreciate the visit as always, Keenan. Talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thank you, JP.
Keenan McCardell, Jaguars wide receivers coach. And, Cole's stepping out. We're going to see Shenault back on the field today. Hopefully he can stay up there. And, it's just been an off and on the field dealing with that hamstring issue and something he had to deal with in college. And I was interested to see what it takes to kind of keep a young guy going when if you're banged up and back on the shelf again a few times, that can get to you. And I think Keenan's a guy that can set you straight if you're dealing with some of those issues above the shoulders.
Oh, absolutely. And I think for Shenault, though, the good thing is I think he's going to get thrown right back into the deep end of the pool today. I mean, out of necessity. And I think the plan had been to try to alleviate some of the workload on James Robinson by getting Shenault more involved with some direct snaps and a little bit in the running game in creative ways. So, with Mike Glennon at quarterback, I think they're going to use Shenault to his full effect today, at least try to. So I think they might try, give you a few creative looks. So Shenault's not going to have a whole lot of time to sit around and wonder why the ball's not coming to him. I have a feeling he's going to be very busy.
Remember the first few weeks of the season, there was the kind of the end around, pre-snap stuff, wildcat with him, and then the injury happened. They haven't been able to put as much of that in lately,
Well, you're right, and because he hasn't been available. Yep. So, and you do wonder, though, with the depth not being what it is, maybe they don't want to expose him to so many of those hits today. But, I mean, look, I don't think you could play scared. I think you got to go out there. If he's a weapon that you have, you don't have that many of them right now that put fear in the hearts of defensive coordinators, so use him to his best effect. I think Colin Johnson's got a great opportunity today as well.
Yes, he does. We haven't seen him in a few weeks, actually,
No.
but he's had some moments this year. Remember to check out Jags at Home. It's an interactive second screen experience on game day featuring Ashlyn Sullivan and Eric Dunn, and each Sunday you'll have a chance to win $10,000 in cash and prizes. Visit jagsathome.com on more information on how you can play and you can win. We're back in a moment, and we'll hear from CBS Sports play-by-play announcer Spiro Deas. He'll give us some insight to the challenge ahead today for a banged-up Jaguars football team. The Browns and the Jaguars at 1 o'clock. And from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
At Jacksonville International Airport, the health and safety of travelers is their #1 priority. They're doing everything they can to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, from adhering to CDC cleaning guidelines, requiring facial coverings in the terminal, and encouraging social distancing at every point of the airport experience. For a comprehensive look at what the airport, airlines, and their shops, restaurants, and rental cars are doing to keep passengers safe, please visit jacksairportcares.com to learn more.
At ViStar, we believe in better, especially in helping build a better financial future for our members. So we've reviewed our offerings from the ground up. We've lowered or eliminated over half our fees and enhanced our already competitive rates, saving members more than $1 million this year, in addition to the millions we save them every year. If you believe that saving money is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Hey Jags fans, heading to TIAA Bank for a game? Take advantage of Jags Pay and keep your stadium transactions touch-free. Jags Pay is an all-new partnership between the Jaguars and Tap It to give our fans a contactless payment option for all concessions and merchandise. It's fast, safe, and easy to use. Just download the official Jaguars app on any mobile device, tap Jags Pay, and set up your secure payment method. You're all set. To learn more, visit jaguars.com/JagsPay. See you at the bank.
Any repeated physical activity puts stress on the body. Checking your phone, getting in the car, sitting at your desk, checking the phone, getting in your car, sitting at your desk, checking your phone for the 50th time today. If you do anything with regularity, you should get massaged with regularity. Massage Envy. Keep your body working.
Regular body work makes the body work with massage, skincare, and stretch. Come in today for more information or visit massageenvy.com for more details.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
Sassine's Office Systems helps you manage information more efficiently, offering a full line of award-winning copiers, printers, electronic document storage solutions, mailing solutions, and IT solutions. Founded in 1981, Sassine's continues to offer unmatched customer support and world-class scalable technologies to both small businesses and Fortune 500 companies. Located in Jacksonville, Daytona, Orlando, Tampa, and Gainesville, Sassine's is ready with your office solutions. Call 888-771-2679 or visit sissines.com today.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues right now.
Welcome back. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey at the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park studio at TIAA Bank Field. The Browns and the Jaguars tee it up today at 1 o'clock, and today's game is presented by Universal Orlando Resort. The Jags trying to snap a 9-game skid. The Browns are looking for their first playoff berth since 2002. And they're playing pretty good football on the ground. Their defense gets some takeaways this year in Cleveland, so they feel like they have a shot to maybe not overtake Pittsburgh in the division, but get one of those playoff berths, and today would be a big step for them.
Well, sure, and when you add in the fact that the Ravens are struggling this year,
yes.
and you've got to figure if they play that game on Tuesday night, they're prohibitive underdogs with 20 players not available, or 20 personnel not available for that game. That Cleveland's got to feel good about their chances, get to 8-3, get a little breathing room, and there are some pretty close pursuers in the AFC, but with the expanded playoff field, I mean, Cleveland would have to collapse at this point, I think, to not make the postseason.
Let's get to our visit with Spiro Deas of CBS Sports. You know him, you love him. He does a lot of Jaguar games, and we're always glad to have him on the broadcast, and we're glad to have him with us this week. Spiro Deas of CBS.
What can we expect from Mike Glennon, I think, is the big question, and might be a reason why he hasn't started in a few years, it feels like.
Yeah, I think you're getting to the point now in a season when you're Doug Marrone for a team, obviously, that is just kind of playing out the string, where you have to start to make these tough decisions. And I guess part of me was surprised that he would make this change now. But look, this is why being a head coach is so difficult. And Doug has had to deal with so many injuries. Obviously with the pandemic, like every other team, now he's got some assistant coaches he's going to be without. It's a really tough spot for him, and Doug knows his team, and he knows the pulse of his team better than anyone. And he feels like it's a good time to allow Jake Luton to maybe step back and evaluate what he's seen, what he's experienced these last 3 weeks, and go from there. And look, Mike Glennon deserves this chance. He's done everything the coaching staff has asked him to do. I think there's a reason why he has been where he's been, and he hasn't had a frontline job the last couple of years. And this is his chance to maybe catch on, not just with this team, but one of the other teams around the league. And he's got to perform now. It's difficult to do that when you've got injuries in front of you, and you're playing with a very young supporting cast, as we know is the case with this Jacksonville team. And we'll see what the future has in store for him, and also for Jake Luton. My partner and I, Adam Archuleta, were in Jacksonville for the Houston game, for Jake's first game. And, we watched him have that very early success, the long touchdown pass, I think on his second or third attempt. And we kind of looked at each other and said, man, maybe there's something with this kid. And of course, lo and behold, it kind of went south on him there quickly. But, I don't think this spells the end by any stretch for Jake. I think there's a lot of good there. He's got the great frame, and he looks like a legit quarterback prospect. And maybe this is a chance for him to catch his breath and to learn some things and to move that step forward. But, that'll remain to be seen here the next couple of weeks and next couple of years.
Spiro Deas with us, CBS Sports. Now, on offense, we stay with a bright spot. We'll get to all the COVID issues coming up on defense. But James Robinson has been fantastic, obviously, continues to build. He's over 1,000 scrimmage yards this year. He has about 172 rush attempts this year. Only 11 of those are for negative yardage, Spiro. This guy always gets forward. He always falls ahead. He's finding a crease. He's hard to hit. And for an undrafted guy to have that kind of skill set and vision, I don't think I've seen that in a long time. And it's really, now I know they're 1-9, but if they didn't have James Robinson, where would this offense be, is my question.
Yeah, such a great story. And I think when you really examine James Robinson and his entire football career, high school, collegiately at Illinois State, he has had success, and he's excelled really at every level. So, I think the people that know James Robinson the best, his family, certainly his ex-teammates, his coaches at the high school level, and Brock Spack and that entire staff at Illinois State, I don't think they're really surprised deep down. We had a chance, we've had a couple of chances now to speak with him via Zoom, and he's just a really diligent, hardworking kid who I think has had to earn every opportunity he's gotten. Lightly recruited out of high school. I think Iowa was the only really major collegiate program that took a look at him, and it was very light interest before they kind of backed away for whatever reasons. And obviously undrafted into the NFL, he had to earn his way onto a roster spot. And sometimes those guys are the hungriest prospects that you find, and you get, sometimes the high picks who flame out quickly. And I don't think there's anything about this kid that tells us that that's going to be the case. And then you start to break down his numbers, JP. It's amazing what he's been able to do. on really limited opportunities, behind an offensive line that's had the issues up front. They don't have a ton around the running back position. Just a lot of youth on this team. So defense is now, knowing the success that he's had, they're able to key on him a little bit more. But as you said, he's just able to churn out that yardage, even on plays that are breaking down. He always seems to fall forward, like you said. And there's just very little about this kid not to like. And I think he's going to be around for a long time. I think he's a building block for this franchise that's really searching right now for who they're going to try to build this offense around over the next couple of years.
Spiro Deas with a CBS Sports has a call of the Browns-Jaguars game today. Let's flip it to the defense. There were issues anyway, of course, because they haven't been playing well a lot of the year. There have been a couple bright spots. Miles Jack has some moments this year. But now there are injury issues. Josh Allen's done for an extended period, it feels like. No ligament damage in the knee. That's the good news. A bunch of the secondary guys are down. Sidney Jones, C.J. Henderson is on IR. You're digging deep down the well to get some cornerbacks on the field this week. And then throw on top of all that, Spiro, that the coaching staff all of a sudden has COVID-19 issues. 3 defensive coaches earlier in the week were not allowed to go to the practice field, and they won't be allowed at the game today. That's a lot of change for a defense that was struggling already, and they've got the monumental task of trying to slow down this Browns running game today. And that's a lot to ask with everything that's happened.
It's unreal. And, I'm a big Doug Marrone fan. I know he's taken his lumps from the media, and, some of it rightfully so. When you don't win in this league, you're going to be the butt of a lot of criticism. But we've had a chance to meet with him a ton. We've done so many Jaguars games over the years. So, we've become big fans of his. And, if you're Doug Marrone, you just have to throw your hands up at this point and say, what else could go wrong, right? I mean, obviously it's a pandemic, and every team's having to deal with COVID cases and losing coaches. Just last week we had the Bengals and their defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo, was down 2 or 3 assistants. So he's having to coach the DBs on the sideline in between defensive series. Everyone's having to adjust, but it just seems like Jacksonville and this defense has just been behind the 8 ball right from the snap. And I think, every team has been able to deal with the challenges and the logistical issues with the pandemic differently based on how their teams are built. And I think we all knew, because of this Jacksonville team being so young and inexperienced, they were going to struggle without having the traditional offseason. No OTAs, no rookie camps, no preseason games. Really the time where young rookie, first, second, and even third-year players really get acclimated. And it's affected them maybe more than some of the other more veteran teams around the league. And now I think they're really going to struggle here down the stretch. You're having to play guys that have gotten very little reps, very little snaps in games. And now suddenly you're without your defensive coordinator and some of your leading defensive assistants. It's going to be a very, very challenging day and next couple of weeks as they try to close the season and desperately try to build on something positively.
Spiro Deas, the extended podcast-only version available in the official Jaguars podcast network, where we talk about a bunch of other things as well. So check that out right now, available this morning. Our thanks to Spiro for taking time out on Thanksgiving Eve to knock that out.
Yeah, very nice, and he's not wrong. I mean, look, this is a team that's been struggling all year when they've been healthy. So down to your third quarterback, missing a bunch of coaches, missing a lot of your frontline players. I mean, it's a bad recipe with any team coming in, particularly a 7-3 football team.
This week's Selfies for Change player is wide receiver Keelan Cole. Take a virtual selfie with him and unlock a donation to tackle social injustice. Get started at TIAABank.com/selfiesforchange. Time now for our weekly visit with Jags sideline reporter Rick Baloo, presented by McGowan's Heating and Air. We call it Has Rick Lost It?
The Cleveland Browns. Oh, my gosh. I mean, just unbelievable. The mistake by the lake, and it really rings true here. First of all, can you imagine waking up every day in Cleveland? How about every Monday during football season? Taking that on with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, since they came back in 1999, led by old friend Chris Palmer, the Cleveland Browns have won 30% of their games. The Cleveland Browns have made it to the playoffs once in 2002. That's it. They only had 2 winning seasons, 2002 and 2007. They've had 30 quarterbacks, including first-rounders, Tim Couch, Freddie Quinn, Brandon Whedon, Johnny Manziel, and, of course, right now, Baker Mayfield. How about their coaches? 12 different ones since they returned to Cleveland, including Hugh Jackson in 16 and 17, had an overall record of 1-31. But after Chris Palmer, Butch Davis, Jaguars running backs coach Terry Robisky, in for 6 games on an interim level. Romeo Crennel, Eric Mangini, Pat Shurmur, Rod Chizinski, another interim coach, Mike Pettinen, Hugh Jackson, Greg Williams, Freddie Kitchen, and now Kevin Stefanski. So, it's been a brutal year for Jaguar fans, and I'm not trying to make light of that. But again, look at the Cleveland Browns. As a matter of fact, Cleveland has not won a playoff football game since they were there originally in 1995. January 1st, 1995, it was Bill Belichick, the head coach. His victory? Yes, over the New England Patriots. Jacksonville, been a brutal year. Let's hope for the best. Could be worse. You could be a Browns fan.
Rick Baloo with Has Rick Lost It, presented by McGowan's Heating and Air, proudly keeping your family comfortable since 1974. Call 904-264-COOL. We're back in a moment on the Publix Tailgate Show. A.J. Cann and Jawan Taylor, the right side of the offensive line, they both visit with Ashwin Sullivan and our Baptist Health Connection with a player. Browns Jaguars coming up at 1 o'clock. And from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Hey Jacksonville, this is Joe Deas from Bono's. I just want to let you know that we have now reopened all of our dining rooms. We appreciate all the love that you have showed us during this crisis. For over 71 years, we have been here for you through good times and bad. Our award-winning barbecue and our unbelievable staff look forward to seeing you soon. Be safe.
Jaguars fans, whether it's on the field or in your finances, the key to success is a solid plan. From high-yield banking to home lending, into retirement and beyond, TIAA Bank offers solutions that can help you achieve your goals and make the most of your money. It's time for a plan. Start building your legacy today at TIAABank.com/Jaguars. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, equal housing lender, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Why do you choose Farah and Farah? First, we have the financial resources to take on any insurance company, and our track record proves that we know how to win. Our attorneys and staff are a team, and we've worked together for decades. To us, our job is much more than just a paycheck. We love to help. And this is important. We never forget. It's not about us. It's all about you. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
You're working from home. So how do you connect with coworkers and clients? With RingCentral, the #1 global communication solution for business. RingCentral makes talking, texting, collaborating, and video calls easy. And it's all on one platform. And when we say everyone should be connected, we mean it. It's why we're giving RingCentral free to educators, health providers, and nonprofits. Learn more at ringcentral.com. Welcome to the new RingCentral.
Jags fans, let's get ready for game day. Now, Jaguars football is back, and we can't wait to be Duval together at TIAA Bank Field this fall. Now, before you head to the stadium, make sure you feel 100%. Protecting the team starts with you, so be sure you've got your mask and you practice social distancing from the parking lot to your seats. Visit Jaguars.com/stadium and get answers to all your game day questions. And remember, stay safe, Duval.
Everyone's so busy keeping up. Forget about the Joneses. We all on our telephones with the texts and the tweets and the beats. What he said, she said, can't even follow the thread. Down the hole, we all go. Me, I like keeping up too, with my Corona and my attitude. That's La Vida Mas Fina.
Relax responsibly. Corona Extra Beer. Imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Jaguars Game Day presented by ViStar Credit Union. The Publix Tailgate Show rolls along. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey. The Browns and the Jaguars coming up at 1 o'clock. We're at the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park studio at TIAA Bank Field. And Crystal Restaurants remains committed to the health and safety of guests and team members. Crystal drive-thrus are open 6 a.m. to midnight, and restaurants are offering delivery through Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub. Man, those Crystal chicks didn't last long today at all.
They fly right out of the bag, JP, right into our stomachs.
They do.
And then if you don't get them early, you're not going to get them.
It's a frantic fight to the finish of the bag.
It's a Crystal free-for-all.
It is each week. It's part of our game day routine. Make it part of yours as well. Be sure to catch the latest archives of all Jaguars.com and Jaguars radio shows on the official Jaguars podcast network presented by ViStar, including podcast-exclusive content like the Broadcast Week in Review and the Ozone podcast. Time now for the Baptist Health Connection with a Player. This week, 2 players, A.J. Cann and Jawan Taylor, the right side of the offensive line, visiting with Ashlyn Sullivan with a Thanksgiving theme.
Special edition for Thanksgiving with Jawan Taylor and A.J. Cann. And before we start, I have to wish a very happy birthday to Jawan Taylor.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So you both participated in Turkey Time with the O-Line, which was Andrew Norwell's foundation. So AJ, I'll start with you, especially this year. What made you guys want to get involved in that?
Last year, I got involved and I thought it was a great idea. Norwell brought it to our attention. And just a chance to get out there and help people, who probably can't afford a meal on Thanksgiving, get them a chance to have a meal on Thanksgiving. But the thing about this year was, we wasn't allowed to hang out with the people and serve like we did last year. So I thought it was very important to at least have my foot in that somehow, help donate so everybody can have the opportunity to have those meals again. We did do it last year. And like AJ said, we couldn't really interact with people this year, but we just wanted to give back to the people in need in the community and, just want to stay involved with the community. Even though the pandemic's going on, we still want to find a way to do it.
Very nice, you two. Still making an impact. All right, so we are going to debate 3 Thanksgiving foods. I will start with you, AJ.
Okay.
Do you like your turkey fried, your turkey baked in an oven, or are you one of those weird people that doesn't do turkey on Thanksgiving?
Wow, I'm a weird person. I'd rather ham.
I knew it.
I gotta go with ham over turkey. But I must say I've had it fried. It ain't too bad though. That's the way to do it. Yeah. So if I must say, I'm gonna say fried. It's the best way. There you go.
Here's a chance to redeem yourself, AJ. Best Thanksgiving pie.
Ooh, come on, man. Sweet potato pie.
Jawan, you think the same?
I'm thinking the same, either that or the pecan pie, but that sweet potato pie definitely good.
I'm talking to 2 of the right guys for this. We picked a good group today. All right, last one. We'll start with you, AJ. Cornbread, regular bread, or dinner rolls?
Cornbread, but don't put no corn in it. Cornbread with no corn in it. I would probably say either the cornbread or the dinner roll. Probably the dinner roll for me.
I'm glad we're all in agreement. Well, guys, have a great Thanksgiving. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so much.
A.J. Cann and Jawan Taylor, offensive linemen discussing food is usually entertaining.
Yeah, for the record, dinner rolls, I think, is the right answer.
Really?
Yeah, and A.J.'s right. Cornbread without the whole kernels of corn in there. Like, you make it with corn, but I don't need whole kernels of corn in my cornbread.
What's wrong with that?
I don't like it like that.
Do you get corn on the side? On the plate?
I just have, I'll eat corn.
Well,
but
then what's the difference?
The difference is I don't like it mixed into my cornbread.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just asking. I don't know. I don't know the rules on this.
Well, there are no rules. It's just personal preference.
That's right. That's right.
No corn in the cornbread.
I mean, you're entitled to your own wrong opinion. That's fine.
All right, Pete Prisco Jr.
Let's move along. Jaguars Director of Player Engagement, Marcus Pollard, takes us inside the team each week. This time, heading into Week 12.
A weekly feature of the Publix Tailgate Show is our visit with Director of Player Engagement, Marcus Pollard.
He is always holding it down.
Always, yes. Always. Even into Week 12, as the Jaguars host the Cleveland Browns this week. And what a week it is already before we even get to game day. At least 3 defensive coaches are not available for the game due to COVID-19 protocols, contact tracing and the like. There's a new quarterback. The defense has injuries across the board. We have a lot to discuss. Let's start with all the COVID-19 things. The kicker's out as well because of he's on the list this week. Yep. So on the defensive side, that changes a lot of the preparation this week in terms of on-field practice. It doesn't change much in the virtual world, though, right? Those guys are still coaching meetings.
Yeah, still coaching virtual meeting this week. It's been a challenge to have those guys and to have to do all the meetings virtually and not be out there for practice. And Coach Marone and some of the other coaches kind of circle the wagons and did the best job we could with what we had. And so to not to have those coaches, I'm sure it's a shock to the system for those players. But probably more a shock to those coaches who've been on the sideline for these type of situations and been preparation and planning. And to be able to go out and do that today is going to be a challenge for all of us.
You guys have been working hard at keeping everything proper and doing things the right way and protocols and all that. But it finally kind of got to the team a couple of times middle of the season here. The practice squad had the contact tracing. And then now the coaching staff has some issues there, too. I mean, it does speak to how much you guys have been working on keeping everything the right way. But unfortunately, sometimes even that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's right. You got all these protocols in place. And to be honest, I'm certain there are a lot of organizations, both college and pros, that's feeling the effects of COVID. No doubt. And so to say that we're in an isolated situation, it's just happening to us is not the case. But I do know that our organizations really put our best foot forward to try and eliminate the coronavirus from spreading throughout our organization. So we've upped our masks. We've got this mask patrol and, telling people to wear the mask. And so it's been a challenge. But I think, when it's done, hopefully it's done real soon that we get a vaccination and we can get back to what life is supposed to be like.
Marcus Pollard with us. Let's stay on the defensive side of the ball and the attrition, the injuries last week piling up now. Josh Allen's down for a while. Sidney Jones is not available this week. That's just a couple on the list. I mean, there's a lot of guys.
Thomas.
Right. All those guys. Yeah, right.
Yeah, the list goes on. It goes on. And so for our defense to play pretty good in the first half of the 2 previous games and to not have some of those guys who are stepping up and making plays. Like you said, it's a game of attrition, and the defense is going to be shorthanded today against a productive offense in the Browns. But hopefully we can make enough plays to give ourselves a chance to win.
Marcus Pollard with us. Let's get to the quarterback now. I mean, that was normally be the lead in this interview, but with all this other stuff going on. Okay, so Mike Glennon has been around the league, but he's going to have to jump in and start. Luton, Doug said this week's going to take a step back a little bit and just kind of calm everything down. They'll see how Gardner is as the week goes along if he's the backup today. What's Mike Glennon like in the building?
Yeah, Mike Glennon is one of those savvy vets. He's been around, like you said, for a lot of years, and he's got a pretty good grasp on the system. And what I've come to recognize from Mike, and you'll see it today, even being in the huddle calling the plays, he's always in tune to the game. He's always helping the 2 younger guys to get better. And when you can see a guy can do that during the week and not feel this sense of competition, like I got to take these guys out, it bodes well for us, getting those offensive plays called and getting those guys in and out of the huddle, hopefully make some plays offensively.
All right, Marcus, let's get a W today. Cleveland Browns coming in, home game here after Thanksgiving, and we'll chat with you again next week.
Sounds good. I'll be still holding it down, JP.
A few pounds heavier today after Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Marcus Pollard joining us on the program, a weekly feature of the Publix Tailgate show. And Glennon's a salty vet. He's been at this before, but hey, you got to go out and perform on the field when it counts too.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, it's nice that the Jags have that alternative to go to a guy who's not going to be overwhelmed by the moment or anything like that. But let's not kid ourselves. Mike Glennon was not a high-quality quarterback in the NFL. He's a backup for a reason, and for him, it's an opportunity to start a game when he probably didn't know if he'd ever start another game in the National Football League again. So put something good on film. Who knows where it could take him going into next year.
And we've just mentioned it with the conversation with Marcus there. Chase McLaughlin's on the reserve COVID-19 list, the kicker. So Aldrich Rosas is back.
Right, we finally found one we liked, right? He made his kicks. Like, we went through a half dozen of them, and we got another good one, and now we don't have him. So, Rosas, you better get in here and do the job, man.
Yeah, well, you're going to be kicking, so there you go. Let's
But-
hope not. Let's hope they're scoring touchdowns and he's kicking
true,
extra
but
points.
I mean, you got to feel like if the Jags are going to win, it's not going to be in blowout fashion. Every point's going to count. So, every opportunity you have to make a reasonable opportunity at a field goal, you better put it through the uprights.
Nothing, not even the Grinch, can steal the holidays at Universal Orlando Resort. It's festive fun and includes some of your favorite Universal characters, and it's happening now through January 3rd. We're back for the second hour of the Publix Tailgate Show. Top headlines of the week, plus first rounds on us. We'll hear from Jeff Lageman in just a few minutes. The Browns and the Jaguars at 1 o'clock, and from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Hey guys, I want to take a break here because I'm so excited to talk to you all about this experience Eric Dunn and I are hosting this season called Jags at Home. This thing is for anyone that could use an extra $10,000. I mean, who couldn't? And the Jaguars are actually giving away $2,500 every quarter of every game to whoever predicts the outcome of the game most accurately. Will the Jaguars convert this third down? What will be the result of this red zone trip? If you think you know football and the Jaguars, why are you letting other people take this money that should be yours? It's not like if you top the leaderboard, you have a chance to win. If you top the leaderboard, you will win $2,500 every quarter, every game. Seriously. So when you're watching the game every week, visit jagsathome.com on a mobile device, tablet, or even a desktop. And come get this money. Even better, you get to hang out with me and Eric Dunn while we chat it up during breaks. Again, that's jagsathome.com. We'll see you there.
Jaguars fans, game day is back, and while it might look a little different this year, the good times, smooth drinks, and tailgate excitement will never change when you're cheering on the Jags with Jameson. So pull up a seat, pour a smooth Jameson, ginger, and lime, and enjoy game day with Jameson. Taste responsibly. Jameson Irish Whiskey. 40% alcohol by volume. 80 proof. Product of Ireland. Copyright 2020. Imported by John Jameson Import Company. New York, New York.
Jaguars fans, Brian Sexton here. I've discovered something that will take your tailgates to the next level this football season. Bernie Grills. You've never seen anything like these portable all-wood grills. Bernie's are convenient, affordable, and simple to use with no messy cleanup. Bernie's real alderwood flavor makes burgers and brats taste delicious. I grilled some steaks on mine the other night, and they were incredible. So get your Bernie Grill for the next game at berniegrill.com or at Amazon. Bernie Grill. Life. Grill. Done.
Headquartered right here in Jacksonville, the CSI Companies is one of the fastest growing staffing firms in the nation. As a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI knows how important it is to find the right people for your team. See why some of Jacksonville's top companies choose CSI for their staffing needs. Visit thecsicompanies.com or call 800-582-0828 today. That's 800-582-0828 for the CSI Companies.
The best way to feel love is to share it. At Hanania Subaru of Orange Park, we always go the extra mile with bigger selection, more savings, our best service. Only Subaru of Orange Park gives you a nationwide lifetime warranty and 1 year complimentary maintenance on new and used vehicles. Plus, when you get a new Subaru during the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru will donate $250 to your choice of charities. At Hanania Subaru of Orange Park. Online at SubaruofOrangePark.com. See dealer website for full details.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues right now.
Welcome back. Second hour of the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park studio at the bank. 1 o'clock kickoff time. The Browns and the Jaguars today in week number 12. The Browns at 7-3. The Jags at 1-9 with 9 consecutive losses. Today's game is presented by Universal Orlando Resort, and the Jags are trying to stop the skid, but it's becoming increasingly difficult as the weeks go along here. The attrition piling up on defense. Half the coaching staff on the defensive side is not available today due to COVID-19 concerns. Mike Glennon is now the starting quarterback. A couple of starting wide receivers are out today. Conley and Chark will not be available due to injuries. So that's a lot going on for the Jaguars on a 9-game losing skid.
Oh, no question about it, JP. I guess, the good news is you look at the opponent coming in today. This is not a team that blows people out, right? I mean, you look at the recent string of games by the Browns, 22-17, they win over Philadelphia, 10-7 against the Texans. Now, these are both bad weather games the last couple of weeks, but nevertheless, those are the results. They only scored 6 against the Raiders, lost 16-6 in that one, beat the Bengals by 3. So, they've had a couple of blowout losses this year. They've won a lot of close games, which often is a sign of a good team when you win the close games, and they're not a team, though, that generally runs and hides from you on the scoreboard. So this is a game, if the Jags don't contribute to their own demise by turning the football over, they can be in it, I think, into the fourth quarter.
Currently 66 degrees and cloudy. The game time temperature at 1 o'clock. Forecast to be about 70 today. A little foggy coming in this morning. Let's get to today's top stories, and the biggest story usually is the change at quarterback. Mike Glennon gets the start today. He hasn't started in the league since 2017. Head coach Doug Marrone explaining the state of affairs in the quarterback room.
I told Jake that, hey, we really appreciate everything, really like a lot of things that you're doing, but we're just going to take a step back and just kind of digest things for a while and just look at things and get you back on track. So Gardner said he's feeling good. He's still listed as limited on the report. I just feel like we can't get enough throws in during this week. I want him to have a full week of a full load of work, before I put someone in there. I don't have a problem with him, backing up this week. And if he has to go in there for a quarter or half a game or whatever it may be, if something happens with Mike, Mike will go ahead and he'll get the start.
So Mike Glennon will get the start. The last few years he's been a backup in the NFL. Will use some of that knowledge that he's gained over that time today in his starting role.
I mean, I've been in a role the majority of my career where I've just been the backup, so pretty used to not getting the reps. But out there today, I felt comfortable. I think I have a lot of prior experience and knowledge from observation that has helped me grow as a player, even though I might not have been playing. I think I know more about football than I did, the last time I started. So hopefully I can apply some of that and, help us get a win.
So Mike Glennon, here he comes.
Yeah, not only has he not started since 2017, those 4 starts he had that year are the only ones he's had since 2014. It's been a while. He was 1-3 as a starter that year. Overall, though, throughout his career, not gaudy numbers, but he's been pretty good at protecting the football. 36 touchdowns and 20 interceptions, JP, but only a 6-16 mark as a starting quarterback. And again, I think the big thing for him today is to make sure you don't give any easy ones to the Cleveland Browns. You don't have to make all spectacular plays, but you can't turn it over. You do have to get Cole and Shenault involved early and definitely lean on James Robinson, but you've got to be sound with the ball in the pocket. You can't be loose. He isn't used to getting hit in recent years. Hasn't played much at all. Yeah. So only has 31 pass attempts in 2018 and 2019 combined, and certainly none this year. So we'll hopefully for him, it's like just going right back to riding a bike, and you get in there and you get the feel, and he's going to need to get acclimated to the pocket pretty quickly today.
Mike Glennon benched in 2017 for Chicago's Mitchell Trubisky, who got benched this year for Nick Foles, who got benched last year for Gardner Minshew, who was replaced by Jake Luton, who's now benched in favor of Mike Glennon.
It all comes around.
How about that?
Yeah.
It's amazing how it works sometimes.
And honestly, not a great quarterback in that whole bunch, right? I mean, some decent ones at times, but just a kind of a revolving door with that group.
The Jaguars' offense has been running the ball well with James Robinson, but the plays after the good runs have hurt the team, according to offensive coordinator Jay Gruden.
We just haven't been able to capitalize on our play actions and our shot games this year, which has really hurt our offense. Sometimes we get 4 or 5 yards on first down. You try a play action pass, it's incomplete. You get to 3rd and 6, you drop a ball, or you break a protection and you're punting. I think that's been a story of our season so far on offense.
Can't keep anything going sometimes. You'll get a good first down run, and then all of a sudden you can't convert down the field.
Well, and how many times have we seen a good run from James Robinson called back on a holding penalty? Right. And oftentimes, even if the hold is legitimate, sometimes it's on the other side, doesn't really affect the play. So there are times, obviously, when a hold is what springs the big run, but I think he's had a lot called back that he put in good work on and didn't get the benefit ultimately, JP. But, when you hear that, like, hey, here we go, we miss a shot, and now it's 3rd and 6, and you get a drop play, it's like the Jags just are not a good enough team right now and a good enough offense to overcome that big drop on 3rd down, right? For a lot of teams, you'd be like, all right, so we'll punt it away, we'll get it back, and we'll score the next time. And, they've really got to capitalize on all their opportunities. So those mistakes, when they do come, really hurt.
Jaguars thin at wide receiver today. Chark and Conley are out this week already. Doug Marrone on Friday explaining the plan at receiver.
Keelan will be out there for us, and obviously Laviska's back, and he had a good week. Colin Johnson, and then we'll probably make a move and bring someone up from our practice squad. Trey Quinn, come on up, and maybe we may even make a move later on to bring up a 5th receiver. We'd have to make a roster move to bring up Terry Godwin. So, those are things we're doing, and then we'll just go in there and try to execute the game plan we have in place.
A lot of moving parts out there on the offensive side as well. But as we mentioned earlier, Cole, Laviska Shenault, if he can stay healthy, and Colin Johnson, who we really haven't seen on the offensive side a lot the last few weeks. He had some moments earlier in the year. You ride with those guys, and then the deeper you have to go, then you're starting to get into guys you just bring up on the roster.
And look, I don't know how deep you really need to go here, right? You want to run the football. I think you want to shorten this game if you're the Jaguars. I think both teams have that desire to run the football a bunch today. So if you're Mike Glennon and these guys stay healthy, I don't think the ball needs to be going to anybody other than the top 3 guys who are going to be on the depth chart. You throw Eifert in there and whatever, just with a little bit. And I don't think you need to go much deeper than that. I think the Jags will want to keep it on the ground with James Robinson as much as possible today.
Let's get to the defensive side, and Jaguars linebacker Joe Schobert facing his former team today. Who does he want to hit on the Cleveland Browns?
Who do I want to hit? I always want to hit Nick Chubb. I think he's just got this, what you call, reputation as being a good guy, but Nick's the worst. People don't know that about him. He's the worst person. He always stole my stretch. Dale Jones, I'd always go try to get a stretch after practice, and Nick would always jump me in line and try to steal my stretches. So, if there's anybody I could hit, it'd be Nick.
Joe Schobert might get his wish today, I think.
Obviously talking tongue-in-cheek about his former teammate there, Nick Chubb, but I think he'll get many opportunities to hit Nick Chubb, and hopefully when he does, Nick Chubb will go down at that spot. Nick Chubb's on quite a nice run for himself after missing a good stretch of the season with injury. And as we talked about earlier, JP, Kareem Hunt, most teams would love to have him as their starting running back. And he's a little bit of a pass-catching specialist for this team. He gets a handful of carries as well. And you can't, typically the starter goes out. You feel like, all right, things are going to get a little bit easier. Slightly different style of running back, but nothing easier with a former league-leading rusher in Kareem Hunt.
How about Baker Mayfield's season? What's the future for him?
I think Baker Mayfield is not a franchise quarterback in the sense that he's a guy that you say he's going to carry us to a championship. I think they're finding the formula to win football games with him, which is rely heavily on the running game. It's interesting that this team has taken off a little bit now that Odell Beckham Jr. is out of the picture. And you just feel like he's been put in a situation where you've got this guy, Odell Beckham Jr., who has such historically good numbers to start his career that you almost have to force the football to him. And I think he gets caught up in that, or had gotten caught up in that a little bit. I think they're content to hand it off as much as possible, involve the tight end, Landry out of the slot. They don't want Baker Mayfield, or they don't need, ideally, Baker Mayfield to throw for 250, 300 yards every week for them to win football games. So, looking back, is he worthy of the first overall pick? I don't think so, but he was the selection at the time. He's certainly an NFL starting caliber quarterback. I just don't think he's a guy that's going to carry a team to where they want to go to.
I mean, this is really a team that's built for December and the sloppy conditions and bad weather.
For that division.
This is really a perfect setup for Cleveland.
It is, and when they can get leads and grind you with that running game, and then you unleash the guy who's been the best pass rusher in the league this year. Now, he's not playing today. Myles Garrett didn't play last week. He's on the COVID-19 list, but he has been an MVP-level defensive player for the Browns this year. He's the best player on that football team, and they've got some decent players, including Ronnie Harrison, who I imagine is very fired up for making his Jacksonville return today. But they have some nice pieces on the defensive side, so they're content to run the ball, play defense, let Baker make an occasional big play.
There you have it, some of today's top stories. A couple of, as we were talking, Doug Marrone earlier was talking about some of the changes they were making at wide receiver. Trey Quinn is one of those elevated to the active list for today's game via a standard practice squad elevation. Cornerback Josh Nurse is the other. Aldrick Rosas is activated from the practice squad via a COVID-19 replacement. So he can come up and then go back, and there's all those rules. Craig Reynolds, running back, signed to the active roster from the practice squad as well. A few transactions over the last couple days. The Jaguars Game Day radio broadcast presented by ViStar Credit Union. If you believe no car payment for 90 days is better, join ViStar, a standard feature on new or used car loans. ViStar never forgets that it's your money. Time now for our weekly visit with the guru, David Lamb with Lamb at Large.
In the midst of this pandemic and the Jaguars' 9-game losing streak, you'd think it would be difficult to find reasons to be thankful. But Uncle Dave, also known as the guru at Saddle Lamb, is here to the rescue. Coach Doug Marrone and his staff should be thankful they still have jobs. Christmas may not be as merry, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The players should be thankful they're paid well to do what they love. I'm sure most grew up dreaming of being professional football players. The fans should be thankful for having an NFL team. The city should be thankful for all of the charitable deeds the players and team do. Me, I'm thankful for all of you.
David Lamb, the comments from the guru, a weekly feature of the Publix Tailgate show. Santa Lamb. Yes, it's almost that time of year.
Dave's been doing a really terrific job with that Santa Lamb promotion for years and years now. I mean, going way back, and it does a great job raising money for underprivileged children, takes them shopping for Christmas. It's a really nice thing that he does.
Farah and Farah reminds you to continue to wear a mask. Help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. When we return, first rounds on us, minus Tony Baselli today. Jeff Lageman will join us from the broadcast booth, though. Browns Jaguars at 1 o'clock, and from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
The best way to feel love is to share it. At Hanania Subaru of Orange Park, we always go the extra mile with bigger selection, more savings, our best service. Only Subaru of Orange Park gives you a nationwide lifetime warranty and 1-year complimentary maintenance on new and used vehicles. Plus, when you get a new Subaru during the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru will donate $250 to your choice of charities. At Hanania Subaru of Orange Park. Online at SubaruofOrangePark.com. See dealer website for full details.
Kessler Creative, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, has the large format printing services running in high gear, creating large banners for marketing events, full vehicle wraps. Learn how Kessler changes the game with print and direct mail innovation. From eye-catching restaurant menus to real estate yard signs and event displays, Kessler does it all. Kessler Creative, Jacksonville, Florida. Results-driven marketing and a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans, did you know that with Drizzly, you can get Tito's handmade vodka delivered to your door in under 60 minutes? Well, you can. And now they're giving all fans $10 off their first order. Use the code JAGS10 at checkout. Just download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com and make sure you're all set to mix it up with Tito's handmade vodka for the perfect game day. That's DRIZLY.com. And remember to use the special code JAGS10 to save $10 on your first order. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Cecine's Office Systems helps you manage information more efficiently, offering a full line of award-winning copiers, printers, electronic document storage solutions, mailing solutions, and IT solutions. Founded in 1981, Cecine's continues to offer unmatched customer support and world-class scalable technologies to both small businesses and Fortune 500 companies. Located in Jacksonville, Daytona, Orlando, Tampa, and Gainesville, Cecine's is ready with your office solutions. Call 888-771-2679 or visit sissines.com today. At Jacksonville International Airport, the health and safety of travelers is their number one priority. They're doing everything they can to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, from adhering to CDC cleaning guidelines, requiring facial coverings in the terminal, and encouraging social distancing at every point of the airport experience. For a comprehensive look at what the airport, airlines, and their shops, restaurants, and rental cars are doing to keep passengers safe, please visit jacksairportcares.com to learn more.
JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park studio at TIAA Bank Field. The Publix Tailgate show continues ahead of the Browns-Jaguars matchup today. Kickoff time at 1 o'clock. Tickets for the Daly's Place 2021 season on sale now. Great seats available for great shows like Tedeschi Trucks Band, Kane Brown, Maren Morris, Alicia Keys, and many more. Visit dailysplace.com for more information and to buy tickets. Time now for First Rounds on Us.
New York Jets, first-round choice, Jeff Lageman.
Jacksonville Jaguars have selected tackle Southern California, Tony Baselli.
We welcome in our resident, singular, first-round pick today. Jeff Lageman joining us from the broadcast booth. Tony Baselli not available today due to contact tracing around someone who had tested positive for COVID-19. So Tony is out today. Jeff Lageman is in, though. What's up, Jeff?
Well, I've been doing the old self-isolating in the woods all week, JP.
Okay.
So I'm good with the
All
COVID
right.
protocols. Unless deer start to get COVID, I'm okay.
Okay, then. Deer and turkeys, then you'll be in trouble. So there's a lot going on, obviously, for the Jags. It's a 1-9 team. We get that. They've lost 9 in a row. But now it's, most of the defense is banged up or on IR. You got half the defensive coaching staff out today. Oh, by the way, Mike Glennon starting at quarterback. 2 of his starting receivers aren't available. That's a long list of things to delve through here. But I think always the quarterback position is number one, and Mike Glennon starting for the first time since 2017 today. What can we expect at that position?
Out of Mike Glennon?
Yes.
Exactly what he's been his entire career. I mean, he's 6-16 in his career. He's been a journeyman quarterback. He's played with a bunch of different teams for a reason, and his last start was 3 years ago. I mean, look, JP, he was on this team as a third-teamer. You're a third-teamer for a reason. And so, look, even though he said, hey, look, I'm going to go out there and let it rip today, and I don't have anything to lose, the reality is you do have something to lose. And what you have to lose is your ability to be a backup quarterback in this league going forward. And I think the chances of him being a potential starting quarterback, that ship has already sailed with Mike Glennon. So you hope that just a career type of backup guy can come in here today, provide a little bit of stability, especially with an offense that is essentially changing 4 starters from the previous week, one of them being that quarterback position. So it's going to be a lot different in today's game offensively and defensively, JP. 4 starters defensively that are not playing from last week's game to this week's game.
Right.
And the problem is that they're so young on that side of the ball. The next up guys are coming from practice squad, undrafted rookies that are not very held in high regard right now. Look, the reality is Josiah Scott was a 4th-round pick, and he's been active, maybe twice this season, and hasn't really had a sniff of playing time. So, I just don't see how they're going to have an easy time of overcoming the replacements of injury. And then they've had to get everybody ready all week without a coaching staff. So, big challenge.
Let's talk about one other guy who is missing specifically on offense, Jeff. Andrew Norwell going on IR. How much will they miss him, and what would your plan be to replace him in the lineup?
I think they're going to miss him tremendously. You could make an argument that he was having the best year of any offensive lineman for the Jaguars, and that's obviously a big change from previous years because Andrew Norwell was kind of under the microscope a little bit because he was a big free agent acquisition. He makes a lot of money. That's what you get in free agency, but this year he's been really good. And I think that you could probably say his performance has been Pro Bowl caliber good, and he's done a good job not only in the run game, which has always been his forte, but this year he has made a vast improvement in pass protection. So they're going to miss him since he's on IR. Now, what are you going to do? Tyler Shatley is, as Jay Gruden said, the Swiss Army knife on the offensive line. He's going to be playing some left guard, which is kind of surprising because you spent a fourth-round draft pick on an offensive guard who was a tackle in college in Ben Barch. But Ben Barch, when he played earlier this year at the right guard spot, which is where they have had him since training camp and haven't moved him a lot to get reps on the other side, he didn't perform very well on the right side. So to expect him to get better going to the left side, I think, is a stretch, and I think they will sprinkle him in just to get him reps. But if I'm a quarterback, I want Tyler Shatley at left guard.
Jeff Lageman with us from the broadcast booth. First round's on us. James Robinson continues to just put up production. Over 1,000 scrimmage yards this year. We were discussing this earlier, and we asked Jay Gruden about it this week as well. The fact that he always seems to be going forward. And he's just tough to hit. He finds a way to get back to the line of scrimmage or beyond. He keeps the offense ahead of the chain, at least for the most part. That's certainly valuable in the running game when a guy's decisive, hits the hole, has the line confident in him, and him confident in the line. It works both ways in the running game.
Well, I think the one thing that's been impressive about him is that he hardly ever gets tackled for a minus gain or no gain, and the stats say it. 11 rushes out of 172 that have been for minus yardage. And a perfect example of that, go back to last week's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he converted a 3rd and short. And if you guys remember the play, he kind of bounced it to the left and was able to stretch it forward. Well, the 3 tight ends on the left side got absolutely hammered. I mean, collapsed. And James Robinson, with the vision that he has, sees it. Somehow, I don't know how, is able to make a turn of his body to get outside of the entire left side there that got collapsed and to still convert the first down. I mean, an impressive play, a very poor play by the young tight ends. But nonetheless, he converts the first down. And then also, look at the numbers. I mean, the numbers state that he is on pace to finish with 1,618 yards from scrimmage, and that would be the most ever by an undrafted guy in NFL history. I mean, that's unbelievable. And I don't know where this team would be without James Robinson this year.
Here's another question for you. Who has more yardage today, Robinson or the two-headed backfield in Cleveland?
I mean, combined?
Yeah.
I mean, the two-headed backfield is just tremendous, and they have some stability at quarterback, even though that Baker Mayfield's not a great player. They're probably going to convert some more first downs, and they don't have as much change going on as the Jaguars have. So, look, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are really good players. And if you look at Chubb's numbers, 575 yards rushing, he's averaging 6 yards a carry. You got to remember now, he missed almost 5 entire games because of an MCL injury. And he still has 575 yards rushing, and he could still end up breaking 1,000 yards. That's impressive. And then Kareem Hunt is an excellent back as well. And obviously they got him because he was considered somewhat of a personal risk kind of guy because of the issues that he had in Cleveland when he was a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. And then John Dorsey ends up taking a chance on him, kind of despite the public perception or opinion of Kareem Hunt joining the Cleveland Browns. But things eventually passed, and now they've got 2 really good running backs.
That's where they're at right now on that. For the Jags, Jeff, not a whole lot of healthy cornerbacks, at least ones with experience. You mentioned Josiah Scott earlier, but with Henderson on IR, Sidney Jones not playing, Claybrooks not playing. Is this arguably, though, the team you'd want to face? Because Cleveland, I don't think, wants to test you on the outside all that much.
No, and Baker Mayfield hasn't been playing all that well. And then Odell Beckham Jr. is on injury reserve. He tore an ACL, so that helps. But they still have Jarvis Landry, who is a really good receiver, more of a possession type of guy. They've got a couple good tight ends. But, yeah, Mike, you're right. I mean, this is the type of team that you'd like to be able to play, and that they're not a vertical kind of team that throws the ball a ton. But, here the reality is that they're still an NFL team, and you're still playing with a lot of guys that are third-teamers. And so it's not going to be an easy task today for the Jaguars defensively. I'm expecting the lineup to be Barku, Trey Herndon, and then Scott probably playing the nickel today. I don't know that for sure, but if that's the case, boy, that's a lot different type of defensive backfield than this team envisioned at the start of the season.
And they had to claim Greg Maben off waivers from the Titans this week, too. I mean, a couple days of practice and get on out there, Greg.
Well, and they brought up Josh Nurse off of the practice squad, who, look, he's a rookie free agent from Utah. I mean, he's got the size. He's a 6'3", 200 guy, but what does he look like? I don't know. JP, do you know?
No.
And Mike?
Not at all.
If he walked in this room right now, I wouldn't know who he is, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it is sometimes, and certainly this time of year when things are going like this. So, all right, let's come back in a moment, Logs. We will get into the Geico Fantasy Outlook. Joe Fortunato will stand in for Tony Baselli today on the picks. This should be interesting.
Rumor has it he's got Roger Staubach #1 on his QB list.
Well, nobody else has taken him, so he's probably available. Yes.
He is that. No, Denver might sign him by the time that game kicks off.
That's true. We'll come back, though, in a moment. The inactives are due. Plenty ahead of this Browns-Jaguars matchup. A 1 o'clock kickoff time. And from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Why live with foot or ankle pain? If you have persistent pain, numbness, tingling, burning pain on the bottom of your foot, or swelling that doesn't improve with home treatment, it may be time to see Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Our foot and ankle specialists have innovative new options to help you get back in the swing of things without persistent pain that slows you down. Call JOI 2000 or go to joionline.net for an appointment.
At ViStar, we believe in better, especially in helping build a better financial future for our members. So we've reviewed our offerings from the ground up. We've lowered or eliminated over half our fees and enhanced our already competitive rates, saving members more than $1 million this year, in addition to the millions we save them every year. If you believe that saving money is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Jaguars fans, did you know that with Drizzly, you can get Tito's handmade vodka delivered to your door in under 60 minutes? Well, you can. And now they're giving all fans $10 off their first order. Use the code JAGS10 at checkout. Just download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com and make sure you're all set to mix it up with Tito's handmade vodka for the perfect game day. That's DRIZLY.com. And remember to use the special code JAGS10 to save $10 on your first order. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hey guys, this is Ashlyn Sullivan. I want to take a break here because I'm so excited to talk to you all about this experience Eric Den and I are hosting this season, called Jags at Home. The Jaguars are actually giving away $2,500 every quarter of every game to the fans who can predict the outcome of the game most accurately. That's $10,000 every single game. If you think you know football and the Jaguars, join us for every home and away game at jagsathome.com.
Brooks Rehabilitation outpatient locations throughout Florida are currently open and accepting in-person and telehealth appointments. They're following CDC guidelines to include screenings, temperature checks, face masks, social distancing, and additional sanitizing of all surfaces. They're taking extra precautions to ensure your safety so you can focus on your recovery. Please call their central intake unit at 904-345-7277, option 3, to schedule your visit. Brooks Rehabilitation is the official rehabilitation provider for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans, Brian Sexton here. I've discovered something that will take your tailgates to the next level this football season. Bernie Grills. You've never seen anything like these portable all-wood grills. Bernie's are convenient, affordable, and simple to use with no messy cleanup. Bernie's real alder wood Flavor makes burgers and brats taste delicious. I grilled some steaks on mine the other night, and they were incredible. So get your Bernie Grill for the next game at BernieGrill.com or at Amazon. Bernie Grill. Light. Grill. Done.
JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park studio at TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. The Publix Tailgate show continues ahead of the Browns-Jaguars matchup, a 1 o'clock kickoff time. Today's game is presented by Universal Orlando Resort. There's a lot to see and do in Central Florida during the holidays, but one absolute must-see and must-do is holidays at Universal Orlando Resort. It's happening now through January 3rd. No one wraps up the holidays like Universal Orlando. Inactives are due any moment. We'll get to those coming up. Let's start, though, with the Geico Fantasy Outlook. Great news. There's a quick way you could save money. Switch to Geico. Go to geico.com, and in 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more on car insurance. We welcome back Jeff Lageman. We go to the booth again, and Logs is back with us. Frangie joins us for the first time. And Joe Fortunato, our manager of radio, fills in for Tony Baselli in the Geico Fantasy Outlook.
Put anybody on the air.
This will be fantastic. Now, wait a minute now. So I just want to let you guys know that I have personally been advising Joe Fortunato for Tony's picks today. And I have strongly recommended Leonard Fournette.
Because Tony loves him.
Mike Lennon.
Yeah.
And then also OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh. You know, the love between Tony and Leonard Fournette runs deep.
Yes, it does.
So it's going to be tough.
I know he loves him.
Yeah, rumor has it Tony's just boycotting the show because he's in last place overall for the second consecutive week.
That's commendable.
Here's how it went last week. I took it down with 77 points on the week with the trio of Ben Roethlisberger, Dalvin Cook, and Keenan Allen. At the other end of the spectrum, Jeff Lageman had 39 points to come in last place for the week with Derek Carr, Nick Chubb only getting 11, and Julio Jones limited to 5. So overall, Tony had a solid week with 70, Frank had 64, JP had 60, and yours truly now at the top with 619. That'd be me.
Whoa.
First place. JP in second place with 609, 10 back.
10 back.
Logs 5 points behind you. Frank is at 564. That is 40 points behind Jeff, and then Tony only 3 behind Frank, so it's pretty tight from top to bottom. And based on last week's results, the draft order this week is Jeff, JP, Frank, Fortunato filling in for Tony, and then myself. We take a quarterback, running back, and either a wide receiver or a tight end. And Logs, you're on the clock.
I will take Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. All right, he scoffed at you for taking Taysom Hill last week.
I got mocked for that last week.
He did. He mocked you.
Mocked.
Not so much this time
Everybody
around.
loves him all of a sudden.
Got to see it, man. Got to see it to believe.
Of course, you can only use each guy once all year. JP, you're next up.
Aaron Rodgers.
And Rodgers, that's not the greatest matchup with Chicago.
It's okay.
We'll let you have
He's Aaron Rodgers.
Frank Frangie, you're on the clock, sir.
How about Keenan Allen, Mike?
Keenan Allen off the board now. Joe Fortunato, who's it going to be?
Hey, as tempting it is to go to the Kendall Hinton route for Tony, we're not going to do that. Give Tony Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert, okay. I will take, a couple of good quarterback options here. I will take Stephon Diggs at wide receiver, and I'm going to be a bad guy second week in a row and take Nick Chubb.
That's
so there you have
wrong.
it.
Wow.
Yeah, it is wrong, but it's a game of math. It's not a game of. I'm not out there. Look, I'd tackle him if he were in front of me, but
I was told there would be no math. Go ahead.
Joe, you're up next.
All right, Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. Okay, Frank.
I think Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. JP.
Edwards-Helaire.
Okay, CEH versus the Bucks. Jeff, you get a running back and a wide receiver or tight end here.
I get both back to back.
Yes, you do.
That's nice. I will take Mike Davis.
Okay.
And I will take Mike Evans.
Mike Evans, probably the last week you can get a Mike Davis start as Christian McCaffrey's getting close to coming back. JP, need your wide receiver?
Tyler Lockett.
Tyler Lockett. Frank, running back for you.
I'm going to go all in. Josh Jacobs here.
Jacobs going big on the Raiders. And then Joe picking for Tony at wide receiver.
We're going to go for touchdowns here, not yardage. Travis Kelce.
Kelsey, all right. And I'm going to go with Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback today.
Against the Jets.
Yes, I'm assuming Tua's doubtful. That's close enough to out to me that I'm going to assume.
I saw a report that he's done.
He's definitely out.
He's done,
okay.
yeah.
Well, Fitz versus the Jets is the play for me. All right, so Jeff has Taysom Hill, Mike Davis, and Mike Evans. JP with Aaron Rodgers, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Tyler Lockett. Frank has Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, and Keenan Allen. Fortunato and Baselli combined for Justin Herbert, Aaron Jones, and Travis Kelce. I have Ryan Fitzpatrick, Nick Chubb, and Stephon Diggs. So good luck, guys. And
Staubach's still on the board.
Staubach is on the board, available for anybody else next week.
Joe, you didn't take him.
No, I didn't take him. He's a cowboy. I can't.
He doesn't have any guts.
No guts, no glory. There you have it. Geico Fantasy Outlook. Time now for the inactives. The Jaguars have 7 players down for the game today. Gardner Minshew is one of those, so Jake Luton is the backup today for Mike Glennon. Gardner Minshew is inactive. DJ Chark, wide receiver, was ruled out Friday, as was Chris Conley. They're both inactive. Dario Gunbowale, running back, inactive today. Sidney Jones, the 4th, cornerback, will not play. Tyler Davis, tight end. And Reggie Gilbert, defensive end, added back to the roster. He is inactive for today's game. Those are the 7 down for the Jacksonville Jaguars today. A lot of new faces you'll see, especially on the defensive side of the football in the secondary today for the Jags, and they're digging a little deeper in the wide receiver room as well, Mike.
Yeah, a number of starters out for Cleveland, as well as Myles Garrett had already been on the COVID list. Sione Takitaki, one of their starting linebackers, out this week as well. Denzel Ward, one of the starting corners. Dontrell Hilliard, Sheldrick Redwine, and center Nick Harris, all out today. So Kevin Johnson will get the start for Ward. Malcolm Smith will start at linebacker for Takitaki, and Adrian Claiborne expected to be in for Myles Garrett today.
There you have it. Inactives are in. That means we're inside an hour and a half away from kickoff today as the Jaguars face the Cleveland Browns in Week 12. We'll hear from Jeff Lageman again coming up in the final hour before kickoff in Countdown to Kickoff on the Jaguars Radio Network. Time now for the Frangie File. We visit longer with Jaguars play-by-play man Frank Frangie in the broadcast booth upstairs at TIAA Bank Field. Another home game, but this is a little different feeling with everything that's happened this week. 3 coaches are out on the defensive side, Frank. You got a mash unit on the defensive side of the football otherwise, and Mike Glennon starting at quarterback without 2 starting receivers today. That's a lot to digest after Thanksgiving.
JP, it really is. In an unusual year across the board, what an unusual season for the Jags. Mike Glennon will be the 6th quarterback to start for Jacksonville in the last 29 games, JP. Six in 29 games.
Wow.
Baker Mayfield started all 29 of those, by the way. So it just gives you an idea, doesn't it, how difficult it's been. 6 quarterbacks will start in 29 games. I've tried to learn a lot about Trey Quinn. I've tried to learn a little bit about Craig Reynolds. You get the point, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to learn a little bit more about Josh Nurse. It's been an unusual season for as I can ever remember. But, hey, you know what? It's an NFL football game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to call it.
Yeah, and Frankie, you talk about all those consecutive starts for Baker Mayfield. That has not been the norm with Cleveland at the quarterback position over the years, right? So they finally have settled on a guy, and I don't think it's a Baker Mayfield-centric offense. I mentioned this to Jeff. I think, still it is an NFL passing attack, but as beat up as the Jaguars secondary is, I think this may be the team you'd most prefer to see because of their commitment to the run today.
I heard you ask Jeff that, and I think you're dead on, Mike. I think that's probably the best storyline for Jacksonville, if there is one today, is you've got a brand-new secondary practically. If you're going to do that, you'd rather play against a running team and stack the box a little bit if you have to and take your chances back there. Mayfield's been just okay, so I think you're dead on. I think you don't want to face a team that's going to throw it all over the place on a day like this, right? And so, and Mayfield's been okay, Mike. He's 15 touchdowns, 7 picks. The last 2 or 3 games, I don't think he's thrown a touchdown in a few weeks now. He's just been, for the first overall pick, he's not a bad player. He's a stabilizing guy. He's a very good game manager, but he's just been okay. So we'll see how good he is today against Jacksonville.
All these new faces in here, and hearing Doug Marrone talk this week, I mean, he pretty much lays it out there straight. He's a straight shooter for the most part. And, hey, next man up, and maybe we signed you or claimed you on Tuesday or Wednesday, and hey, that's where we are. You got to throw guys out there and play, and that's Doug Marrone's mentality now. Those are the chips that he has. He's got to play them.
Yeah, I agree with you, JP. He hasn't whined. You know what? He drew a tough hand, man. And he hasn't whined about that. He hasn't complained about that. I was looking at this the other day. He's played the way it's played out is the Jags have started 2 sixth-round draft picks at quarterback until today. I want to say, and I don't have this in front of me, but I want to say Ryan Fitzpatrick might be the only starting quarterback the Jags have faced this year that wasn't taken in the first round, JP, somewhere thereabouts.
Oh, wow.
If I'm off, I'm not off by much.
Right.
I want to say Fitzy is the only guy they've played this year as a starting quarterback that was not taken in the first round of the NFL draft. So Doug had a tough hand a little bit, and I think he understands that. And look, this is an audition for some of these guys. That's the beauty of this for the guys I just ran off, Trey Quinn and others. Hey, it's an audition. They want to play in the National Football League, and they're getting to play in an NFL game on a Sunday afternoon. So, hey, you know what? You only get 16 of these things. I can't wait to get started. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll just be a little bit different today.
That's a hell of a call, Frank. Phillip Rivers, week 1. Tannehill, week 2 against the Titans. Yeah. Fitz was week 3, of course, against the Dolphins. Burrow, Deshaun Watson, Matt Stafford, the kid in L.A. with the Chargers, Texans again, Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben. Yeah. That's incredible.
Fitzy's the only one. Fitzy's the only quarterback the Jags have faced this year that was not taken in the first round of the NFL draft.
Yeah, but that's pretty much the norm,
it's the league, I guess.
That's the league, right. I mean, most teams aren't rolling out a couple of sixth-round picks as their quarterbacks. So,
and that is the story. And right, if it's happened 9 out of 10 times, it tells you that's where the league is. Exactly right. And I think that's where the league is. I don't think there's any question about that.
So, no Josh Allen, no Andrew Norwell. Frank, who do they miss more today?
Yeah, of those two, I would probably say Norwell. Josh Allen's been good. He hasn't had as great a sophomore season as people had hoped, I think, Mike. I think they need to run the football. I think Andrew's had a good year. I think they've run the ball well. We know they've run the ball well. I think part of that's I think the interior of the line's played well. I think Norwell, Linder when he's in there, and Can have played very well. I think Shatley's played well when he's gone in there. With all that's gone wrong, it's hard to find some of the bright spots. I think those 3 guys have been really good. And I think losing one of those guys when you've been running behind them, and James Robinson's a very good back, but he's a between the tackles back. And so I think, if anything, you probably miss Norwell a bunch. I hate to see that he's not going to play.
Frank Frangie, voice of the Jaguars, with us from the broadcast booth. How's the weather looking out there, by
You
the
know
way?
what? Not bad. It's dreary a little bit, but I don't think the rain's coming till later on. It's about 70 degrees. 70 degrees at the end of November. That's why we live here, right, JP? It's absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. Have a great call today, Frank.
Okay, fellas. Thank you.
Frank Frangie in the broadcast booth joining us before this Browns-Jaguars matchup today. Yeah, I guess that is the league. It's just, you hear that, and it's, everybody. But if most everybody has invested a first-round pick in a quarterback and continue to do that every 3-4 years if that other guy doesn't work, except this organization has not done that
they're
a
one
lot.
of the exceptions. They're not the only team in that boat.
There aren't
but, I
many.
mean, Fitzpatrick started because Tua wasn't ready, and he's a first-round pick. So, right, there are very few. It's not at all surprising to me that they face that many first-round quarterbacks.
Let's go. We're sitting here. Let's go through it. Why not?
Sure.
We just mentioned all the teams the Jags have played. Buffalo, Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Miami, we know Tua. He's not starting today. New England,
Cam.
The Jets, Darnold.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Baltimore. Yes, Cincinnati. Yes, not anymore.
Right, but that's injured. The intent.
I mean we can do this, but every other team, right? Indy, Tennessee, Houston.
I'm going through mentally. You get to Kansas City.
Vegas.
Carr was a second-round pick, I think, for Vegas, right?
Denver,
second-round pick for Locke when he's available. So you got 2, and then Herbert's a first-rounder. So you had 2 teams other than Jacksonville in the entire AFC that don't have first-round quarterbacks, and they're second-round guys. So the Jaguars are the ones who stand out like a sore thumb in their approach to building the quarterback room.
Well, maybe that's going to change at some point soon. It feels like it might.
You have to wait till April to find out, JP.
It's true. We got a lot of months between now and then. This season, the Jaguars have launched predictive gaming exclusively in the Jaguars mobile app. Choose a bingo card, pick your favorite 3 players, and place wagers to win prizes. Check out the games in the mobile app now. We're back in a moment on the Publix Tailgate Show. It's a visit with the Ozone. Jaguars.com senior writer John Oehser joins us live from the booth. Jaguars Radio Network coverage starts at noon with countdown to kickoff. We're a little over an hour away from Week 12. The Cleveland Browns and the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up. And from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Every 51 minutes, someone dies in a drunk driving crash. If you think it can't happen to you or that your actions won't affect others, think again. I got behind the wheel drunk and caused a crash that took the lives of 2 young women. Before you drink, have a plan and know all your options. One bad decision can last forever. Take it from me, Eric, prison inmate P22679.
This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
At ViStar, we believe in better, especially in helping build a better financial future for our members. So we've reviewed our offerings from the ground up. We've lowered or eliminated over half our fees and enhanced our already competitive rates, saving members more than $1 million this year, in addition to the millions we save them every year. If you believe that saving money is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Why live with foot or ankle pain? If you have persistent pain, numbness, tingling, burning pain on the bottom of your foot, or swelling that doesn't improve with home treatment, it may be time to see Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Our foot and ankle specialists have innovative new options to help you get back in the swing of things without persistent pain that slows you down. Call JOI 2000 or go to joionline.net for an appointment.
Headquartered right here in Jacksonville, the CSI Companies is one of the fastest growing staffing firms in the nation. As a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI knows how important it is to find the right people for your team. See why some of Jacksonville's top companies choose CSI for their staffing needs. Visit thecsicompanies.com or call 800-582-0828 today. That's 800-582-0828 for the CSI Companies.
The best way to feel love is to share it. At Hanania Subaru of Orange Park, we always go the extra mile with bigger selection, more savings, our best service. Only Subaru of Orange Park gives you a nationwide lifetime warranty and 1-year complimentary maintenance on new and used vehicles. Plus, when you get a new Subaru during the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru will donate $250 to your choice of charities. At Hanania Subaru of Orange Park. Online at SubaruofOrangePark.com. See dealer website for full details.
I'm Jacksonville Jaguars General Manager Dave Caldwell. Did you know you can ride your bike to every Jaguars home game at TIAA Bank Field and valet it for free? Stop by our bicycle check-in tent sponsored by Alert Today, Florida, near Gate 1 at TIAA Bank Field. An on-duty Zen Cog bike professional will park your bike and ensure it's secure during the game. When the game is over, return your claim ticket to pick up your bike. For cycling safety tips, visit alerttodayflorida.com. Remember, Alert Today, alive tomorrow, because safety doesn't happen by accident. Go Jaguars.
Final moments of the Publix Tailgate Show, but the best moments are ahead. Browns Jaguars at 1 o'clock. Today's game presented by Universal Orlando Resort. Time now for a traffic update presented by Geico. Saving you money on car insurance has been in Geico's playbook for over 75 years, so what are you waiting for? After the game, get a quote at geico.com. Well, guess what? The light traffic continues because it's a socially distanced crowd.
Yes.
17,000 and change, the capacity. There are cones in every other spot of the parking lot outside, in Lot J at least. And there's probably not a lot of traffic coming in. But coming over the Hart Bridge, remember the 2 lanes coming inbound merge into the right lane because the left lane no longer exists. You'd fall off the bridge because it's not there anymore. So you have to get off the bridge on the right side. So just move over to the right early, and you should be good coming over the Hart Bridge.
I can confirm this. That's the way I came in today.
Me as well. There you have it, the traffic report. Now time for a visit with the Ozone.
Ozone.
And this is what I'm talking about, the best moments or ahead on the Publix Tailgate Show. John Oehser is a ratings spike. Hi, John.
JP, for the first time, I think, ever doing this segment, I've brought my flip card because it's necessary.
That's right, and it's not even fully complete because there were changes after that,
yeah,
too.
and you know, to let people know how it works, about 5 minutes before I come in here, the press box announcer announces all of the flip card changes, kind of goes down the list because the flip card is printed early. I didn't even bother. I mean, it was about 7 or 8, and it was going so fast. I figure, you know what, what's going on, JP? What is going on?
Everything's going on, John. There's a lot happening. Quarterback change, bunch of defensive changes. Half the defensive coaching staff isn't here today or wasn't here this week. That's a lot going on. 9 straight losses, certainly. Let's start with quarterback. That's the number one topic always, for the most part, certainly in the NFL. And Mike Glennon's getting the start. He's been around here, obviously, but he hasn't started a game since 2017. What is the approach for Mike today? He said he's going to rip it. He's going to let it rip.
Grip it and rip it.
Whatever that means. What can we expect today?
Well, I think that's the right attitude for him to take. It's been 3 years. I'm sure in those 3 years he has looked back on how he played, how he wants to play if he gets another chance, not knowing if he's going to get another chance. I don't think it's realistic to think Mike Glennon's going to come in here and light it up. But, I don't necessarily think either the Jaguars have to take the approach of completely taking the ball out of his hands, because you can't do that in the NFL and expect to win. You can't just run James Robinson right at the line of scrimmage 65 times. The problem for Glennon is what we'll talk about next. No DJ Chark. DJ hasn't had the year he's had last year, but he's still a guy. He's still one of the best 2 or 3 offensive players on this team. So if you're Glennon, you really wish you had him. You don't. You don't have Chris Conley. You hope that Chenault coming back from the hamstring is 100%, because it at least gives you, Chenault, Keelan Cole, some sort of combination. But I expect Mike Glennon to try to play as free as he can. What's he got to lose? Like he said last week.
Yeah, I'd expect him to call the game the exact same way, John.
Right.
I mean, Jake Luton wasn't, didn't have handcuffs put on him. He just didn't play well last week. So I think they're absolutely going to throw the football, but I would lean on James Robinson. The problem is, without Andrew Norwell in there, I think it could make things difficult across the board. Fortunately for the Jags, Cleveland's defense is pretty beat up as well. We're focusing on all the guys that Jacksonville doesn't have in. Being without Myles Garrett alone is big, but they're missing a couple of other starters as well.
Yeah, missing Denzel Ward, which is big for them. They kind of consider their 2 defensive players. Everything defensively they do revolves around Ward and Garrett, especially Garrett. Without those guys, it's certainly, I don't want to say advantage Jaguars, but it certainly gives them more of a chance. It's hard for me to get real excited about it because it just feels like the Jaguars are down so much. I don't know how you make up for some of the losses they've got. Norwell is a huge factor, and as much as fans have criticized him over the years, he's played very well. The Jaguars' running game has averaged over 4 yards a carry. It's been a very good running game, and the line is blocked very well. But Norwell's been a big part of that, and with him out, I don't know if they're nearly as strong up the middle, even though Tyler Shatley's played well for this team over the years.
John Oehser with us from the broadcast booth. The Browns and the Jaguars coming up, and the Jags are digging deep at corner today. Obviously, John, with all the changes there. Henderson's on IR, Sidney Jones not available, Clay Brooks on IR, DJ Hayden on IR. So they are they're having to sign guys or claim guys off waivers and bring guys off the practice squad to even get guys on the field today in the secondary, and that is scary.
Well, Doug Marone's always as honest as he can be, and over the last couple of weeks, all of his answers around the cornerback position, when the reporters phrase it, hey, do you trust this guy? What are you going to do here? And he almost kind of laughs, says, look, these guys got to play. Greg Maven comes in this week. He's claimed off waivers from Tennessee. Doug was asked if you trust him. He said, we have to. That's who we got to go with. Luke Barco will start today, it sounds like. He's played minimal snaps, had not been quite as advanced as I think they hoped he would be coming in, not quite as ready, but he's got to be ready today. And it's fortunately, I guess, the Browns are not a great passing team. They depend more on their running game. The Jaguars have been okay there for the most part. So maybe it's relative strength against strength for the Jaguars, maybe a chance to get these guys off the field. But you've got to think they're going to test the corners no matter what's out there because it's so weak right now for the Jaguars.
All right, John, so all this going on can be a little doom and gloom. Where do you feel the best about the Jaguars' chances today, a particular matchup or an area of this game?
Is this mic on? No, and it's – I really don't try to make light of it, but it's so tough because I don't know if there is a great matchup for the Jaguars. You know, the linebackers, Jack and Schobert, have played very well for the most part. And you would think that overall, if the Jaguars have a strength left defensively, it's their ability to play the run. They have been better against the run for the most part than they were last year. That's the Browns' strength. You know, get a couple of stops early, get Baker Mayfield in some bad situations. He hasn't played particularly well this season. He hasn't been awful, but he hasn't been great. If you get the turnovers, get some things happen in your favor, maybe play into that run defense strength a little bit, then maybe you get up and you can run the ball a little bit with James Robinson and shorten the game. That would seem the most logical way to stay in this game for the Jaguars to me.
All right, John, have a great day. Good luck with the flip card up there.
Yeah, I got it right here, JP. If you need it, just call me.
Thanks. I'll get a photo of that from you here in a little bit. John Oehser joining us. Look for his writing throughout the day and follow him on Twitter throughout. We're back in a moment with Jaguars Radio Network coverage. Countdown to kickoff with Pete Prisco, Fred Taylor, and head coach Doug Marrone. We're an hour away from Week 12. Browns-Jaguars coming up on Jaguars Radio. Headquartered right here in Jacksonville, the CSI Companies is one of the fastest growing staffing firms in the nation. As a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI knows how important it is to find the right people for your team. See why some of Jacksonville's top companies choose CSI for their staffing needs. Visit the CSI